happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. It's your girl, Maria Milagros here. And today on this particular Wednesday, we are going to be talking about letting go. This idea of letting go and making room for new, exciting, different in our lives. So there are three things that come to mind when I think about letting go. The first is I think about the idea of having my arms filled with stuff. And if I'm walking around, I have my arms filled with all this stuff and I'm holding on to it, right? And somebody says, oh, Maria, here, I want to give you this thing. And it's really great. And it's something that I really want. I can't take it because my arms are full of this other stuff. So what I have to do is I have to let go of the stuff that I have and that I'm holding on to in order to make room for the new stuff. Now, this is true when you're thinking about programming and the concepts that we grew up with. Sometimes we need to let go of those old programs and beliefs in order to make room for new programs and beliefs that contribute to our expansion, that contribute to our evolution, that contribute to our health and happiness, right? Sometimes what we're holding on to, very simplistically, could be a bunch of junk food and things that we're used to eating and we grow up eating but aren't necessarily healthy for us. So we have to learn how to let go of that in order to make room for healthy foods, fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and things like that, right? That's just one simple example. We have to let go of the old programming and belief in order to make room for the new. Now, I know sometimes when people say that, like, you just gotta let it go, it's easier said than done. True story. The second thing that I think of, leads me to the second thing that I think of, which is Marie Kondo wrote this book called The Art of Tidying Up, where she goes into people's homes and she basically talks about the importance of getting organized and having everything in a place where it belongs. And more importantly, she has this amazing and simple philosophy that is, does this spark joy? Because if it doesn't spark joy, it doesn't belong in your home. You can either get her book, it's so fun to read. You can watch her Netflix TV show. There's a special on Netflix. Even the first episode, you watch one episode, life-changing, right? Marie Kondo, The Art of Tidying Up on Netflix is called Tidying Up. And I remember when my daughter and I watched her first episode, we had just purged our clothes anyways, and there was some more purging that needed to happen in our home, and it really became like this, I get to decide for myself, does this spark joy? If it doesn't spark joy, why am I holding on to it, right? And then she has you do this really great practice where if you decide that this doesn't spark joy, I don't need to have this in my life, I need to make room in my life for new, right? If I decide to let this go, I'm going to thank it. And that was really powerful for me because I love operating from gratitude. Anybody who's watched any of my videos, I do talk a lot about gratitude work and the importance of gratitude work. And why that was so great for me was because it wasn't just about the tangible things. Like, oh, I own this sweater that I bought on clearance, and so I was super excited that I paid only $2 for it, but I don't really wear it that often because it doesn't really spark joy, but I get excited about the $2, right? So I talk about the sweater and I wear the sweater. Whenever I wear the sweater, I'm like, oh, this is only $2. Whatever. It doesn't spark joy. I need to get rid of the sweater. And in getting rid of the sweater and saying thank you to the sweater, like, thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for reminding me that I can attract discounts and deals. And thank you for, keeping me warm on the days that you did. I'm going to go ahead and pass you on to somebody else. Now, it's great for tangible items, but it's also great for relationships. Stay with me, because a lot of people want to hold on to being angry after a relationship has ended. I have a video that you can watch. It's all about relationships and how relationships are seasonal, just like anything else in life. And we have to give relationships the room to be seasonal. The other thing is that when we remind ourselves that relationships are seasonal, we're more present in the relationships. We show up in a more appreciative and loving way because we recognize that that relationship could end at any time, right? It's a season. We're not guaranteed someone else's undivided attention and time for eternity. Now, a lot of times people will put a ring on it and make a promise of that, and that's fantastic, but it's not a guarantee because every living, breathing human has their own life to live, even if we're coupled up with that person. So when we remind ourselves that relationships are not forever and ever and always, right? It would be great if they were. We show up differently. We show up and we don't take advantage of, we don't take for granted. We appreciate and we love on in those spaces, remembering that this season is going to come to an end, right? I think about that in terms of like the summer. I'm so thankful for my summer days, even the really hot, sweltering hot days. It's very rare that you'll find me complaining because it's gonna end. And then I'm gonna be shoveling snow, right? And then shoveling snow is gonna end. And then flowers are gonna bloom. And then it's gonna end. And then when it does, I want to make sure that I'm taking responsibility to appreciate the season that I'm in, whether it be actual weather seasonal or relationship seasonal. So when we say, okay, this relationship has ended and either I have to let go or this other person has to let go or whatever it is, we do so from a place of, does this spark joy? Like, be honest. Does this spark joy? Because I have this belief, this crazy notion that if it truly sparked joy for both people in the relationship, you'd still be in it. That's the truth, right? You'd still be there in a space where you're sparking joy together, where you're bringing joy, you're bringing love, you're bringing appreciation. People have a tendency to stay in spaces where they're feeling loved and appreciated, period. Right? Like, so if it's not happening in that space and either one or both people let go, okay, that's my new reality. I have to kind of accept that. Did that spark joy? Let's be real, right? And then what did I appreciate, learn from, grow? How did I grow from that relationship? What benefits me from that relationship, and what can I take with me as I make room for my next relationship? Okay, and then the third thing that I wanted to say to you was this. There's a process that I have that helps me when it comes to letting go of stories that I've created for myself, like, oh, by the time I turn this age, I want to have 2.5 kids and a white picket fence, right, blah, blah. Okay, so that can become exhausting to create that story and then try to live up to that story, because a lot of times, again, that story is based on programming and what we've been told we need to have in order to achieve happiness. So I've had to let go of some old stories in order to make room for what's presently happening in my life, make appreciation here, spark joy here in this moment, and then create almost a story, a future story of what you want your life to be like. And more importantly, what kind of person would live, love, appreciate, enjoy that life, that story, right? Is that really what I want? Do I want that for me, or do I want that to show and prove to somebody else? And if I really want that for me, okay, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become? Because all things start here in order to achieve that thing, right? So if we keep with the theme of a relationship, for instance, okay, so I have this idea, let's say I have this idea about a relationship and I want to be married by the time I'm whatever years old and have 3 kids, right? So that age hits, I did not meet that person and I don't have those kids. So I keep telling myself, oh, woe to me, I didn't, right? That's exhausting and it's not beneficial in any way, because what we're doing is we're repeating that same old story. So what we need to do is change that story. Okay, so I acknowledge that I need to mourn that story. That story came from somewhere. I need to let it go. I need to bury it, mourn it, move forward, right? And that process takes time. It doesn't happen. For some people, it can happen like this. Done, done, and done. I took that sweater and I chucked it and moving on. You don't spark joy. Thank you for what you kept me warm, moving forward. And people can do that with various components of their lives. That's fantastic. That means that there wasn't such a heavy attachment that they're able to let go. When we have a heavy attachment and heavy expectations, we're not as easily able to let go. So what we need to do is give ourselves room to mourn that story, right? So that's your story from your past. We need to mourn that story and then let it rest and start making the decision to move forward. So once you mourn it and you decide to move forward, every time it pops up, because it will, you're going to have to say, nope, I see you. I know why you're here. I know where you come from, but I've decided to let you go and to move into this new story, which is I appreciate what's happening in my life right now. I appreciate this time and space that I'm in right now. I appreciate my relationships right now. I appreciate who I am right now. I appreciate my clothes right now. I appreciate my body right now, and just kind of being in the space of appreciation. The more that we practice appreciation for what is, the easier it becomes when we have to let go. Right? Or when we're let go, because it's like, okay, that's all right. That journey has come to an end, that portion of the journey. And I so appreciate what is, that because I was appreciating up until, I appreciate now in this moment. And then that allows me to make room for what's new. And again, sometimes we have to get clear about what that is. What do I want? Where am I headed? What do I want? Why do I want it? And then What do I need to do to make sure that I'm ready, that I'm willing, that I'm able, that I'm in a place where I'm open to receiving the new? Right? Now, that's a lot of stuff that you would need to unpack. And sometimes you can't do it by yourself. Sometimes you can, and that's fantastic. And sometimes you can't, and that's also fantastic because there are experts out there who can help you, be it a life coach like myself, be it a therapist, be it, a counselor, whatever it is that you need, you'll know, and you'll find that connection, you'll find that person, and then you'll start to do that work so that you can surrender the old, be present in the moment, and make room for the new, because that's how we find our spaces that are healthier and happier. And when we're healthier and happier, not only is it great for us because we're living like super sparkly everything lives right now in this moment, rooted in gratitude and love, but we're also making sure that we're creating a life and a space around us that when other people who we love come in, we're healthier and happier so we can give from our overflow. When new adventures and opportunities come in, we're healthier and happier so we make better decisions in terms of what brings us peace and what brings us joy. Does this spark joy? Yes, I'm doing that. Does this spark joy? No, I'm not doing that, right? And then we have the opportunity to just that's not for me, or that was for me, or that being for me before is not for me anymore, right? And I can let it go. So I hope this was helpful because I know a couple of you ladies have recently, within the past 2 weeks, asked about more information about letting go. So that's my process. That's some of the things that I think about and some of the things that I do. And again, if you're looking for coaching or you're looking for guidance, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to other various people, like I said before, therapists and so on, in order to help guide you along the work of letting go, being present, and creating for your future. If you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share it, because my goal is to make sure that I'm helping people find freedom in all the different pockets of their lives so that they can live their best life. Because when we have healthy and happy people on the planet is a better place. So congratulations that you even took the time to watch the video, which means that you're looking for expansion. And then thank you for making the planet better for myself, my daughter, and everyone that I love. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. That's okay. I don't take it personal. And if you have something that you've done before, a process or something that you're thinking about, put it in the comments. Let's build a community and have these conversations out loud so they don't stay trapped in our heads, because they're not always so helpful processing them just up here. Sometimes it's better to process them out loud, because then we have to organize them, and then we hear ourselves say things and we go, oh, right? And I love those moments of oh, that's super sparkly everything. So I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend, and I love you so much, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're deserving and worthy. Peace!